Don't you just hate it when you message someone on Facebook, or you send someone a text message, or you do some sort of instant messenger thing online and they do not respond? Now, I'll give you a little slack if you've actually never met this person. Then that person has the right to not respond. For all they know, you could be either a creeper or some sort of stalker. They don't know, so they don't have to respond. But if you've known this person for some time, or you've met them in real life and you get along and they don't freaking respond, doesn't that just piss you off? First off, the moral of the story is don't waste your time with online or digital forms of communication. You don't know if they're too busy to respond, or the device is just so screwed up that they didn't receive the response, or maybe they just don't like you. I mean, it's happened so many times. You send some sort of message and then they don't respond. So sometimes you decide to switch it up and send something more concrete, a sort of question that can't go unanswered. Either a yes or no question, or something that's very clear that you want a distinct response from the person you're sending it to. And then you wait a minute and they don't respond. Then you wait 5 minutes and they don't respond. And then you're like, okay, maybe they're busy. I mean, it's Facebook, come on. Maybe they have other people to talk to. You wait 10 minutes, then you wait a day. Then you wait 2 days. And it's very clear now on the 3rd day that they are not responding. So first off, I want you to take a step back. Before you go on a tirade yourself, make sure your message is not creepy. If you've never met the person you're talking to before and she's either the opposite gender you are or you are just really creepy, then obviously you're not going to get a response back. If you have one photo on Facebook and it is some creepy photo where you're taking a picture of yourself through the mirror, yeah, that's probably not a good starter. You're probably coming off pretty darn creepy. It's sometimes very hard to see how creepy you are until you look at it from the other side. Occasionally I'll get creepy people messaging me on Facebook, people I don't even know, and then I'm like, okay, that's why no one responds to me. Recently I got a request from someone on Facebook, and he was just some random stranger who went to the high school I went to many years ago. Rather than blocking these creepers like I usually do, I decided to take the gentleman route and not be like the rest of the crowd. I actually had the decency to message him and give him a prompt, sincere message via Facebook, and ask him who he was and why he wanted to message me, because I'd never seen him before. And just because we went to the same school, it doesn't mean anything, because you just started that school, I graduated years ago. And there you go again, 3 days later, this guy does not respond, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to respond. Moral of the story, Facebook was not what it used to be when it first was released, where people were much more sincere and it was a more close-knit community. Now it's filled with spam bots and a lot of creepers and a lot of people just not responding because they don't take the whole thing serious. But back to my original rant on people not responding. Let's say it's a legitimate thing. Let's say you double check, triple check to make sure you're not coming across that creepy, and you know the person in real life and they just don't freaking respond. For me, I don't really get angered by this anymore, just slightly annoyed. People on the internet, when they use forms of communication like Facebook Messenger, they don't have the decency anymore to reject you in person. So they'll just keep ignoring you. So I'm pretty much trying to start something new. If you've seen my previous videos, I always try and be the better person. For me, if I'm messaging another dude and I ask him a question like, when do you want to meet up tomorrow? And they don't respond, I kind of take it as someone who is too scared to be a man and say, okay, I'm rejecting you, you can't go to this event with me because I don't like you, so I'm just going to not respond. I find that most people are just too shy, or they're too fearful to man up and have some courage and actually respond to the person and say, I'm sorry, I cannot make the event, or I'm sorry, I just don't like you and I don't want to go with you. I mean, you don't even have to be that mean. You could at least just respond and say, no thanks, and just make up some BS excuse like, I have a doctor's appointment. Instead, they're so fearful that they just keep ignoring your requests. If you're watching this video and you're going, yeah, right on, Will, and you're thinking about some girl you've never met in person and you're messaging on Facebook and she's not responding, that's not what I'm talking about, because again, you're probably just being a creeper. So there's pretty much 4 big morals of the story. The first and underlying moral is just get off your cell phone, get off the internet, get off Facebook or MySpace if you still use MySpace, and actually try talking to that person in real life. It's a lot harder to blow someone off in real life, and even then, you can watch their body language at least and get a feel for it. Online, you can't even tell, and it's just really confusing. I know it's a lot more intimidating in person, but honestly, if you can't even talk to that person in person on a frequent basis, then what kind of relationship will you ever establish with the person? Just some sort of semi-confusing online conversation relationship? That's kind of creepy. The next 3 morals are pretty much things that I do that you should probably try and do yourself. First, if you're messaging someone on instant messenger such as Facebook, have the decency to at least respond and say, okay, I gotta go, or okay, see ya, or no, I don't want to go here with you because I have a dentist appointment. You can at least have the decency to make up some excuse and reject them. You can't just smack them in the face with mixed signals by not even responding, because then they'll be there sitting at the computer wondering if maybe your Facebook is glitchy, or maybe you didn't hear the message, or maybe you'll get back to them in 10 minutes, and then they'll be waiting anxiously on their computer forever. Personally, if someone keeps leaving you hanging on Facebook, then you should probably just cut them out of your life and just be pretty confident in yourself to move on from there. I would suggest improving yourself and your confidence so you don't come across so creepy, and so you come across more like a boss. Second is to just be nice to the people you reject. When girls reject guys, I see it quite a lot from my perspective. They will just be very awkward and pretty much give them the silent treatment every time they see them after that, especially when you are very direct, when you ask them out or something and they reject you. They'll just be very awkward and they will ignore you when they see you again. Recently that scenario was switched upon me, so I was unfortunately the person who rejected a girl I just didn't deem that attractive at all. I quickly realized how cold that situation was when I saw her again awkwardly. Rather than being cold to her and mean to her like all the other people, I decided to be at least nice and kind to her and talk to her again when I saw her. So by doing something like this, you come across much nicer than all those cold girls who give you the cold shoulder each time they see you again. Just a quick tip though, you don't want to be overly nice because she might take that as some sort of mixed signals and she might think even though you rejected her earlier, you actually like her now. Finally, I totally understand when someone is being super creepy on instant messenger or text messages. Sometimes you just have to ignore them, otherwise they will never realize how truly creepy they're being. Trust me, that was sometimes the only way I could have learned how creepy I was being via text message. But if it's just semi-creepy or borderline creepy, then at least have the decency to respond. So that's all the advice I'm going to give you for this video. Please leave a like. If you have any suggestions on other videos you want me to do, leave a comment or send a message. I do read all of them. Peace out. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace.